Hey, everybody, pull up a chair, sit down, get yourself another week of 67% winners as we did last week on the Gridiron Six-Pack Show. I'm Tony George from Doc Sports, and that guy over there, that's Griffin Murphy. Griff, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Tony. Cashed another 7-unit WNBA selection last night. Feeling good. You know, it's always nice smacking a top play and hitting your MLB card and rolling back in action on the Gridiron Six-Pack this Wednesday, Tony.
Yep, week 2 of the NFL and week 3 of college football. Had a good weekend last weekend. Okay, and college football was a 2-2 day, but opened up the NFL season with a 3-1 record on Sunday and hit a top play, the biggest blowout on the board.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it last week on the show, the Indianapolis Colts, which was a show pick. And just to address everybody, we're taping this on Wednesday. We're putting out these plays on Wednesday. But I took a deep dive on that Colts and Miami game and found some serious deficiencies with Miami, and it showed up on the field, so we yanked the trigger on that one. So nonetheless, we got 3 college and 3 pro games here this week, and some interesting games in college football. Some interesting results last week, Griffin.
Yeah.
One of them involving the Florida Gators.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they go and travel to one of the toughest places on the planet to play in, LSU, this week. Yeah. LSU up to 8-40. They're up to 8-48.5. So total here. Florida. Well, first of all, let's tip our hat. Tip your hat to South Florida, Griff. Tip it. Tip your hat to them. Put up 391 yards. They had 11 penalties. They allowed 300, and Florida allowed them 391 yards. Florida had 11 penalties. They weren't ready to play. This is a South Florida team that knocked off the number 25 and number 13 team in the country. Now, we're going to see what they're made of this weekend as they take on the Miami Hurricanes. Now, if they were to win that game, forget Ohio State. Just put them at number 1. But nonetheless, concerning for the Florida Gators is, and by the way, Bryant for South Florida, pretty good quarter. Brown for South Florida's good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He put up 263 yards passing. This has to be concerning for the Gators because Nussmeier is no joke. Now, last week, a ho-hum 23-7 win over Louisiana Tech.
Yeah.
I think Kelly just kept the playbook closed and let's get out of here with a win types. You know, they were laying a huge number they didn't cover. But LSU at home in an SEC matchup here, over a touchdown favorite in this game. Griff, what do you think?
It's an interesting one, Tony. This one has huge implications, especially for Florida. In my opinion, this game is going to tell us exactly what to expect out of them this season, whether they're going to be rebuilding again this season or all their chips are in. Losing to South Florida outright in Gainesville, one of the toughest college football stadiums in all of the country to play in. I mean, that raises eyebrows. Is South Florida for real? In my opinion, beating Boise and Florida, yeah, I'm excited to watch this team rolling into Miami this Saturday. So that's definitely something that I'm going to be tuned in on for sure.
Oh, yeah.
In this matchup, Tony, this game's going to be decided for me on the line of scrimmage. LSU, for me, still has a lot of question marks on the defensive line, and I don't know how strong their defensive pass rush is going to be against this Florida O-line. Again, I might get critiqued for this, and I don't care whatsoever. I don't like Brian Kelly as a head coach for LSU. I think he's a bonehead coach. I think he runs a not a poor offense, but at the same time, I think he doesn't have enough balls on the table. He's kind of got that old man syndrome where he kind of just looks pissed off all the time. And I know for me as a player, I kind of look at him kind of like, this guy's kind of an asshole. I don't really know entirely, but from what I've seen, I just couldn't see a ton of respect there from his kids. At the same time, though, but if LSU can establish the pass rush against DJ Lagway, this game's going to flop heavily in LSU's favor. But you know me, Tony, I don't like liabilities whatsoever. And for me, LSU on the defensive line, they've got some liabilities and question marks. I do lean LSU here with home field advantage in this one, but I'm going with the over 48.5 total points. Florida didn't impress me against South Florida offensively, but I believe this is the game where they're going to break out offensively and expose that LSU defensive line. And for LSU, 10 points in the first half against Louisiana Tech, and then 13 points in the second half. Just like you mentioned, I think Brian Kelly kind of kept his playbook a little bit short. I think in this matchup, he lets his offense let it go. Newsmeyer, very good quarterback. I think we're going to see a shootout in this one, Tony. So I'm going to be rolling with the over 48.5 total points in this matchup. I think we're going to see an offensive shootout out of both of these teams. And I think LSU's defensive line is going to get exposed in this one. But a game I do want to talk, Tony.
I wanted to touch base. That win over Clemson.
Yeah.
At halftime, that wasn't too impressive last week because Clemson was down to Troy 16-0.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this line bumped up from 7 to 8. A little bit of an overreaction in my book by odds makers favoring LSU in this game. FYI, I'm just saying you get over the fall number of 7 here with a team like Florida, who power ranked 12th in the country. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's going to be interesting on that side pick, whether they can hang that number, because this has got maybe 27-24 written all over it. Just FYI.
Tony. I mean, that's the biggest take on why I lean LSU in this game. With them rolling over that touchdown hump, rolling it to 8, that's kind of where you just kind of have to scratch your head and raise your eyebrows like, why is this total or this number sitting here? Over a touchdown to win this game. That's why I lean LSU in this one. But another game, I want to shift over to the SEC, Tony. We've got Vanderbilt rolling into South Carolina. South Carolina laying 5.5. We've got a total sitting at 48.5. 2 undefeated teams going at it here. South Carolina 2-0, Vandy 2-0. This is a huge implication game for me as well in the SEC. Vanderbilt, they've got a lot to prove, and especially considering last season, they have to prove that it was not a fluke, going 7-6 and winning a bowl game. And then for South Carolina, they've got to be SEC contenders. Was last year a fluke for them under Shane Beamer and Lenoris Sellers, who's turning out to be a very good quarterback? I'm interested to hear your take on this one, Tony.
Well, I'm not sold on South Carolina in this game. I am sold on Vandy.
Okay.
They have a common opponent, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, what was that, 24-11 game? South Carolina got them there to open up the season. But Vandy goes to Blacksburg. Now, I know that you and Nick Menken on our website are good buddies. Mm-hmm. And he played baseball at Virginia Tech in college. Yeah. He could tell you all about Blacksburg and how difficult it is to go in there and win. And I can give you firsthand knowledge of that because Nebraska went up and played them when Pelini was coaching and they beat us. And I wanted to go up there to experience, one of these, meccas of college. Frank Beamer built this program up. Way back in the day. I wanted to see what it was all about. Does the stadium really shake when they get to rocking? Hell yeah, it does.
I've heard that.
Vandy goes up there as a 2-point underdog and beats them by 24 points last week. I'm not sold on 2 things. You mentioned Sellers for South Carolina. I'm not sold on him yet. And I'm not sold on them bringing in Mike Shula as offensive coordinator either. It hasn't paid dividends. I am sold on Diego Piava, the quarterback for Vandy. This guy's a playmaker. Give me the 5.5. Give me the Commodores in this game. Now we switch gears to Big 12 action. Yeah. And before we do that, we want to tell everybody you get a free $60 account at DocSports.com. There's a link right above our pretty heads right there. The 2 best looking handicappers on the entire website, I might add. Big time. Just shout out to Indian Cowboy Arun Shiva, who was giving us a hard time on Docs Daily on Tuesday. Be sure and tune in live Docs Daily every single day at noon Central. But nonetheless, we'll park $60 in any new account, comes with a profit guarantee. And this is going to be the weekend you're going to want to be over there utilizing that free $60. We'll tell you about that later. Also, we've got a promo code 6pack10. That goes 10% discount on any of our football packages, Griffin or myself, whether it be a week, a month, or the season pass. Season pass is both college and pro football till the season is over. That includes postseason. So you can utilize that with your $60. So hey, get yourself a weekend package. Give us a test ride. I got a big one coming up. I know Griff does too. But nonetheless, wanted to let everybody aware of that. The sales pitch is over. We're switching gears to Kansas State at Arizona, a Friday night lights game here as they go out to the desert and tee it up. K-State, what a debacle last week against Army. Army gets beat by Tarleton State and then goes on the road in Aggieville, the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas. I've been there for 10 or 15 games over the years. Absolute snake pit to play in. And Army goes in there and they beat them from the fourth quarter all the way through the fourth quarter. They beat them, straight up beat them. Out-coached them, outplayed them. Avery Johnson looked like a deer in the headlights.
Yep.
At quarterback for Kansas State, much like he did against Iowa State.
Yes.
In the opener. They had no answer. Arizona, what have they done this year? They've won 2 games by a combined score of 88-9. Granted, one was Hawaii and one was Weber State. You got a home team here catching 1.5, total 54.5. It's going to be interesting, Griff, to see how K-State responds. I'm interested to get your take on this one.
Yeah, Tony, I mean, this game is the biggest for Brent Brennan. He needs this win more than anybody. Arizona last season went 4-8 as a team. Now they're off to a perfect 2-0 start. Very strong. But this is the first test for Arizona this season. And we've seen Kansas State now 3 times. First in Dublin. They did play a very hard-fought game, I will say, against Iowa State. Avery Johnson was very good in the first half of that game. Second half of the game, Iowa State's defense climbed on, and he didn't do much after that. There's a lot of question marks for me after that matchup. Slipping by North Dakota, barely beating them. I think it was like a 38-35 final. And then you lose to Army outright, as you just mentioned. I think this game is going to be an offensive shootout. Kansas State, they've proven they can score points against anybody with Avery Johnson at the quarterback spot. He's a dual threat. This guy has a solid arm, but he's way better with his legs. The question for me in this matchup, Tony, is can Arizona's defensive line keep Avery Johnson in the pocket, force him to throw the ball, opposed to him using his legs and utilizing that run game, because then it could be detrimental to that defense. If Arizona can keep Avery Johnson in the pocket in this matchup, they control the tempo of this game. If not, we're going to see a lot of points. Kansas State has not shied down from a lot of points yet. Their lowest scoring was 21-24 against Army last week. But Army usually typically has one of those controlling tempo defenses. They kind of will ground and pound and control the clock, even on the defensive side. Yeah. So that's not a huge confluence stacker for me. But on the other flip of the coin for Arizona, they're still a young team. I don't know if Brennan can lead this team to a winning season. Kansas State, they're going to play all out in this matchup. They don't want to start their season going 1-3 here. They have more experience. They're an older team. They're more veteran. And I'm just not quite sold on Brent Brennan yet. I like Kansas State here on the money line. Make sure to shop your lines on this because I've seen this line shift all over. But minus 125 is my play on this one, Tony. I think Kansas State gives it to them here. I think their defense comes together, especially on the defensive line. That is going to be critical in this game. And then offensively, Avery Johnson with his legs, I think he can outshine this Arizona Wildcats team. But let's shift gears onto the NFL here. We've got a Super Bowl rematch. We've got Philly laying 1, rolling into Arrowhead to play your Kansas City Chiefs. Philly coming off of what I would call an unimpressive win over Dallas. I don't think they looked very good. It was all pretty much Jalen Hurts on the offensive side. Now, Kansas City back at home. Do they start 0-2 in this season, Tony, after an unimpressive game against the Los Angeles Chargers? What are your take on this one?
I think Kansas City starts out 0-2. I really do. You're minus your 2 best wide receivers. Yeah. Kelsey takes out, our guy, third play of the game. I mean, we don't have Rashid Rice. We don't have Worthy. Hollywood Brown, you might want to take a look at his targets and his overarm receptions this week. They're going to try and feed Kelsey, but imagine Kansas City got their ass kicked in the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, both Kansas City's Super Bowl losses under the Mahomes regime, were against Tom Brady when we had no offensive line. We had to get a center 5 days before the game. Even we had to bring a center in just to complete an offensive line in that game. And then last year, we couldn't do jack crap against them offensively. I mean, we had 12 first downs in the Super Bowl versus 21. We had 49 yards running the football. You cannot beat Philadelphia throwing the ball 45 times. You can't do it, especially when you're limited at wide receiver. I mean, Kansas City right now is limited at wide receiver. Also, let's talk about the offensive and defensive lines, both of which were won by Philadelphia. Let me ask you another question. Since February, what's changed? Nothing. Kansas City got rid of Tunney. He's playing for your Bears. Nice job on Monday night, by the way. But he's playing for your Bears. Offensive line looked awfully shaky against the Chargers. The defense was a mess. Herbert picked them apart.
Yeah.
Are they going to make some adjustments? I mean, the only way I'd look at Kansas City in this game is maybe in a teaser. Mahomes has started 134 games in the NFL. He's lost by more than 7 points out of those 134 games only 8 times. I mean, and they are at home. They're going to have their ears pinned back. But a couple of ways to lean in this game. Obviously, Philadelphia. I'm going to money line it. It's about minus 120 at the point right now. I take Philadelphia. They're the better team. Take a look at Mahomes on the over and under on interceptions. I'd go over the 0.5 there too as well.
Yeah.
But the only way I can look at Kansas City is a teaser there. But I don't think Kansas City – is this a year that they regress and somebody else wins the division? Well, I surely wasn't impressed with Denver. Chargers, yep, they beat them. Raiders, I don't know. They beat the Patriots, but at day's end, I'm Kansas City staring down a barrel 0-2 here. I'm on Philly in this game on the money line. Let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Sam Darnold experiment so far hadn't paid any dividends. DK Metcalf, longtime Seahawk, gets to face his old team with Aaron Rodgers pulling the trigger. What did Pittsburgh do last week? They hung 34 on a good defense. But what's concerning in that game was that Pittsburgh defense allowed 32 against Justin Fields in his first start and a Jets offense that was actually completely anemic last year.
Yeah.
So that was, to me, and that was my only loss. I had 4 picks out on Sunday. My only loss, I had the under. That also was a play you had on the Gridiron 6-pack last week. You had bid on the under on that one. I thought that had 13-10, 16-13 written all over it.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be a damn shootout here. I'm curious to know what you think about this. Of course, Steelers in a home opener sitting on a fall number of 3 against a Seattle team that didn't look like, because San Francisco's just not that good.
Sure.
And Kittle went out in that game. They still beat them. Interesting. What's your thoughts?
I think I'm thinking what everybody else in the world is thinking in this game, Tony. I mean, Aaron Rodgers coming off a 4-touchdown pass or 4-touchdown game. That is a massive subject line to the entire public. You turn on ESPN, Sports Center, NFL Live, it doesn't matter. That's all they're talking about. Aaron Rodgers in his 4-touchdown game and how impressive he looked, which really sells the public on what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do this season. And again, Justin Fields, he absolutely shredded that defense apart. He looked incredible. We've talked about it several times now this week, whether it was Doc's Daily or phone calls, about just how my feelings were about the Bears getting rid of Justin Fields. Then he goes into the Jets, starts game one, absolutely rips apart this defense apart, who is supposed to be a top 10 defense in all of the NFL. So for me, was it the play calling for New York to beat this defensive side, or were they just that good? And was Pittsburgh's defense just not on point? Now for Seattle, Sam Darnold, he went 0 touchdowns in that game, 150 yards passing. Biggest thing for me is, and we just talked about that with Caleb Williams, you have to close games. If you get into the red zone, they're 30, they're 40. You have to find a way to get the ball in the end zone and not walk away with 3 points. The Seattle offense needs to get Cooper Kupp more involved, absolutely. And they need to utilize their run game with Walker and that guy, I can't say his name, Zach Carabout, whatever the hell it is. Very good running back, strong running back. That Charbonnet, there it is. He can move the piles. He can move the chains. He's a very good running back, and they need to utilize him and Walker. I think looking at this game, this line should be Pittsburgh -5.5 at home after the offensive performance that they just had, Aaron Rodgers, all the subject lines. The reason that it's not, something's telling me something here. And I've seen this line shifting, Tony, from 2.5 to 3, and they're baiting that thing at 2.5, basically giving you a pick'em game in Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers after his match or his first game in week 1. So for that reason, there are way too many variants. And you always say this, Tony, you've been doing this for 30 years, and I've seen this one too many times. Well, I've been doing this for about 10 years, 2.5 years professionally, and I've seen this one too many times. For that reason, I am taking Seattle here plus the 3 points, because this is all the reasons, confluences on why to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers here. I am reverse flipping this. I think we're going to see a strong offensive output out of Sam Darnold and this offense, and I think we're going to see Seattle's defense come to life in this game. So give me the Seahawks here, plus 3 in this one, Tony. Let's flip the script. Always love it. Tony, teaser of the week. Roll with it.
Boy. Well, I should have put Seattle +9 then. Damn it. You're taking them plus the 3. Yes, we do have a 2-team teaser, 1-0. We had one last week, and we're going to go this week with the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we're going to tease Dallas down and Tampa up. Now, I will tell everybody, you never want to overreact to what you see week 1 in the NFL, and that carries over into week 2. As a matter of fact, during the season, you never want to overreact to what you see when some team is laying 2.5 and beats somebody 41-9. And then you're automatically going to take them the next week and fade the other guy because they suck, and then you end up going 0-2 the following week. So don't overreact. But one thing remains the same. The New York Giants suck.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson sucks. I mean, you're going to see Dart at quarterback there sooner than later for the Giants. Russell Wilson, great quarterback, Super Bowl winning quarterback, division winning quarterback, absolute talent beyond belief, but he's on the downside of a career.
Yeah. And
he doesn't have a lot around him. He looked helpless in that Washington game. They couldn't get anything done. Dallas had every opportunity to beat Philadelphia in that Thursday night. Every opportunity to beat them. CeeDee Lamb makes a couple big catches. Dallas wins. Dallas is a better team than you think than they're perceived to be. If you didn't see some of the things that they did against Philadelphia, go back and watch the game. Dallas is going to be a very competitive team. The last 10 times these two have played, Dallas has won 9 of them. They're at home, off a loss, tease them down to a pick 'em. If the Giants were to go on the road and beat Dallas, that'd be the biggest shocker of the weekend, because they don't have any play. They just don't have any play at quarterback. Now, on the other side of the coin, you've got Houston and Tampa Bay, an interesting dichotomy. Now, I thought that Atlanta, and by the way, Penix looked really good for Atlanta last week, Griff. Yeah. He's going to be a baller in the NFL. He's an NFL quarterback, no doubt about it. Atlanta in my opinion, outplayed Tampa Bay and still lost. I watched the game. But we got Baker Mayfield here now and C.J. Stroud. I call it an advantage to Tampa at the quarterback position, and I'll tell you why. Houston's got no offensive line. Nothing. They couldn't score a touchdown last week. And the Rams aren't, a strong defense. Stroud has no time to throw the ball. It's the same problem we talked about them last year. You and I talked about them when they were taking on Kansas City in the playoffs. I said, hey, guess what? Great. And I went to that game at Arrowhead. I was texting you during game. I go, they got no offensive line, Griff.
I know.
Chris Jones running wild in the backfield. Nothing changed. Nothing. And Chubb did not look that strong at running back. Nope. He's on the downside of a career. They don't have Mixon yet. And we know about Joe Mixon. He's a hell of a baller when he's in there. On the other side of the coin, Baker Mayfield, no matter what you think of him, he's a poor man's Brett Favre. He just wins games. He wins games. When it comes down to the clutch, the guy closes out games. Give me 3 points here. That gets me at about a plus. Give me 6 points with them. That's sitting around 2.5, 3 right now. Get them up. You're over the 3. You're off the 3. You're over the 6. You're over the 7. And this ought to be actually one hell of a football game, Griffin.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the better matchups because you got two, and I'll get your feed on it real quick here before we close out the show. But you've got two teams here that no doubt are going to be in the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
You got two teams playing this weekend that are going to probably, from a probability standpoint, both win their divisions. I'm telling you, give me 9 points of Baker Mayfield in a game like this, where given enough time, the defensive coordinator who happens to be the head coach for Tampa Bay is going to figure out a way to make life miserable for C.J. Stroud here, which, by the way, turns into turnovers.
Yeah. It's for me, Tony. I love that duo with Michael Penix and Bijan Robinson. I love how swifty and fast Bijan could be in the backfield, and that kind of coincide with how Penix is. He's a lefty, and he's fast in the pocket. Very excited what I'm going to see out of this Atlanta team this season. And then for Tampa Bay, I'll be completely honest with you. I'm still up in the air with this team. I don't know if we're going to still see the same Baker Mayfield that we seen last season and the year before that. I texted you about that, and I said, I don't know if I'm so sold on Baker this year. And you go, no, I love Baker Mayfield. He's a good quarterback, and whatever you said, he's a working man's quarterback, and I like that. So I'm very curious to see how this one turns out. I don't have a heavy opinion on this one. This was one that I kind of faded off my checklist just due to the point spread and all the circumstances around it, but very interested to see how this one rolls out, Tony.
Well, they're basically evenly power rated together, so they're just basically giving Houston home field advantage and saying, it's a pick 'em, you figure it out. Yeah. Well, give me the added 6 points, we'll figure it out. Because I'll take Tampa all day long plus that number. Because Houston, I watched that entire.
So did I.
And I took Houston last week in the Circa Millions contest. I took them plus the 3. I thought they were better than LA, and they had chances there. They just couldn't put anything together. I was shocked. I was shocked.
Pathetic. C.J. Stroud couldn't get the ball out. There was no run game. There was no pass game. They made the L.A. Rams defense look like they were the Steelers or somebody. It was just ridiculous. They did not look good whatsoever. And it looked sharp early on in the game. I figured Houston was going to actually pour it on them. Not by any means. Nobody looked good in that game. It was kind of just a scrappy game to begin with.
Well, I just look at this one here, and we'll close out the show. I got the better quarterback, the guy that knows how to win in the clutch. Stroud's never been able to do it. You got a great 1-2 punch at running back with White and Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
You got Mike Evans running around, and you got complimentary receivers that are good. The better tight end probably goes to Houston by a smidge. Houston's got a little bit of a home field. Give me the 6 points. That's the Gridiron 6-pack. Now this weekend, over at DocSports.com, don't forget that free $60. Don't forget the 6-pack 6 promotion code. There's a promo there's a little box when you pull up the package, week, month, or year, whatever. And it says enter promo code, put in 6-pack 10, get 10% discounted. And then you can use that $60 as well. I have a 7-unit college football top pick this weekend. This game's going to win by 2 touchdowns over the spread. I'd be shocked if it didn't. Odds makers have fallen asleep at the wheel in the getaway car. It's like I'm in robbing the bank, and Griff's been sitting out in the car eating ho-hos, drinking, drinking his smart water and just dozed off. We're going to go ahead and take advantage of it. We'll have a Thursday night play as well. And on Sunday in the NFL, a 6-unit top play, probably on a 4-pack. Still putting the cards together. They'll be up at Doc's. All of our plays come out Thursday at 5 Central. Griff, you got anything exciting on deck?
Absolutely, Tony. So right now in college football this season, I am a perfect 3-0 when it comes to my top plays graded 5.0 and 5-1 on the season across all of my selections. 7-unit best bet, part of a 3-play card. All 3 of those games are on Saturday. And then to follow that up, I went 1-1 on Sunday in NFL. I had the Jaguars, which blew them out, but I did drop my 5-unit best bet with the Houston Texans, which was absolutely ridiculous. Just a terrible.
I didn't even know you had them.
I didn't even want to get into it. I hate those bastards so much after that game, dude. So I'm fading them this week. But I'm going to come back with a 5-unit best bet, and I capitalized on a 2-unit best bet going 1-1. So I'm upping that bar. I'm going to have a 3-unit play and a 5-unit play and try and get back that NFL profit coming into this week. So I'll have 2 to 3 plays on Sunday. Still one's kind of circled up. It's in that little perimeter. And then I have 3 plays already canned up for Saturday, including a 7-unit best bet. So we're locked and loaded, ready to roll.
There you go, folks. DocSports.com, the place to be. And don't forget that Tampa Bay game is part of a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. So everybody will be tuning into that. So throw them in a teaser with Dallas and win yourself some money. For Griffin Murphy right there, I'm Tony George, Doc Sports, place to be. Don't forget about baseball. Don't forget about the WNBA. And don't forget about that prop market in the NFL. Every time there's a game on the NFL, I will have a prop card, and so will Griff. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you next week.